Welcome to the Sellernomics podcast, where we share valuable tips and information in the Amazon and e-commerce space. Each week, we deliver the best interviews with some of the top Amazon personalities in the industry to help you grow your business. Today's episode is brought to you by Getita, the global leader in FBA auditing and reimbursements. Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at getita.com/Sellernomics. And now, here are your hosts, Rob Stanley and Lisa Kinski.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Sellernomics. My name is Lisa Kinski. I'm joined by Rob Stanley. And we have another incredible guest for you guys today, one of the most down-to-earth, incredible women in the Amazon space. If you're not watching this on YouTube, Rob is nodding his head furiously in agreement.
My favorite. I've interviewed this person, I think, 2 or 3 times before this. Absolutely my favorite person. Gives the best hugs. Absolutely love her to death. Let's bring Izabela Hamilton into the studio with us.
Absolutely. Izabela, welcome, hon.
Oh my goodness, guys. It's like I paid you to say this. I'm like, this is nice, sending you hearts. This is so sweet. It never gets old, you know. We've been in this industry together now for a few years, and you know, every time I feel like it's the first time. Like, it doesn't matter how many times we talk, things change all the time. I mean, things change in personal lives, things change in business, but it's always like the first time. So I am so grateful, so honored to be here with you, Lisa and Rob. And of course, big shout out to Yoni. Let's go. I love the intro, by the way. I don't know if you saw me in the waiting room. I was like, okay, I like this. I like this music. So thank you. I'm ready. Let's do this.
All right. So let's tell everybody real quick what we're going to be talking about today. So today we're talking about why Amazon sellers need to understand customer needs. And let's just kick it off. Can you tell us why customers need to focus, or sellers need to focus on customer needs?
Oh my goodness, right from the start, you guys
jump into it.
I thought I was going to go back to Prosper, to the
we're going to go stories at the end. I got good ones about Izabela and I, so there's some good stories.
You guys didn't warn me about that. But no, definitely, I think this is such an important subject, Rob, now more than ever. You know, just thinking and looking at the competition that is today on Amazon compared to what it was when we started. I mean, even just a few years ago, it was so much easier. So now what I'm noticing is a lot more sellers are starting to pay attention. They're bringing their attention back, their focus back, and trying to find out what is it that the customer actually needs. So when we're talking about understanding your customers is not only crucial, but almost critical at this point for the success on Amazon. So by just conducting, you know, the simple customer research and gathering data, a brand can totally gain insights into what their target audience is looking for. And we can go from there. But, you know, just to begin this podcast, right, is I want everybody to understand how crucial today more than ever it's been to actually listen to what our customers want.
And where can they do that listening? Because it's hard, right? Amazon kind of owns the customer relationship for the most part. I mean, where are they going to get these cues? Where should they be conducting this customer research at?
And you bring up a good point, Lisa, because right now, I mean, there are several ways to gather this data in customer research. One way that everybody knows is through Amazon's own tools, which we all know about Amazon customer reviews. But just like you mentioned, that method is not necessarily the easiest or clearest, just, you know, mainly due to a lot of manipulation of reviews in the past. You can't really trust necessarily. I mean, even today, like I look at brands and I'm like, how in the world did you get like freaking 30,000 reviews and you just started? Like, where is this coming from? So even though it's not as prevalent, these like fake reviews that it used to be, I still feel there's a trail of that. So, I mean, that's one thing, manipulation of reviews. But I think another thing, which is what we're talking about today, is these reviews, they simply don't give us enough context, honestly. And you see this on products that even if they're good, you know, the best you might get is this product is awesome. I love this product. 5-star, great. Okay, that's nice. And it increased the social proof and all that, but there's not really any context left. And same thing with negative reviews. You get a 1-star. Again, I'm not saying that all the 1-stars are from competitors, but maybe somebody's actually just annoyed with your product, but they're not going to say, hey, I would love for you to create the better product, and this is why I give you 1-star because this is broken. No, they'll be like, this sucks, get it out of here. So there's not really enough context for most sellers to comprehend and understand and have like that compass, like, okay, I'm going this way or this way.
Mm-hmm.
So Izabela, I got a question for you. Like, to dive into this a little more, should Amazon sellers be using some of this, like understand their customers, not only for their current product, but maybe what future product they might have? And what do you see the most? Like both, or kind of a little of each? What have you
You're
seen?
getting somewhere with this, Rob. It's always fun to talk to you because I know your extensive experience in Amazon. So I know where these questions are coming from. I love it. Thank you for that. What I'm noticing a lot lately, you're right. I feel like a lot of sellers are using this customer data for projected products, because before, again, we have so many tools at our disposal, and, shout out to all the good ones and Helium 10 and Jungle Scout and everyone else. We have all these tools, but we didn't really have that much experience that we have now. So now sellers are like, hey, wait a minute. Why would I want to spend 10, 50, 15, 20, 50 grand to launch a product that I have no idea if it's going to be successful? So even today, I was talking to one of my clients, and one of his strategy is getting a smaller sample of a product, actually testing it with the market. And then if that's a win, then he's going to run with it. And I see this becoming a little bit more common. So now when it comes to customer data, if you're able to extract that from your already shopper, the one that's already enamored and loves your brand, it's going to be easy to have that communication with them and say, hey, I have this like hairbrush. What else would you like to see in my line of brand, in my brand, instead of just looking at, one of the tools that says, oh my God, this product makes so much. I see a lot of sellers pull back and they're like, well, let's think about what the customer actually wants. And again, to create this amazing future brand, a household brand, you do want to implement what the customers are saying. So yeah, I see this very much increasing, which makes me very happy.
Well, and when talking about like what the customers want to see from your brand, you have to build a really strong brand. That's the game on Amazon now, right? Like you have to have a name for yourself. What, like, when you're kind of creating, I guess, a brand avatar, like for somebody to be like, that's so on brand for you, like what should these brands be thinking about? What goes into building a true brand?
That's a good question. And this is something we have recently been focusing a lot on, because, with RankBell, we'll talk about that later. You guys know what we do, but we help them get that visibility. But see, I lost my train of thought now. What were you asking again? Sorry, it happens.
What do these sellers need to take into consideration for a brand? Yeah.
Yeah, so the avatar, before we were just focusing on, okay, how do we get you to page one? But it was almost like a little disconnect between us as well and the sellers, between who that brand avatar is. And it's not a service that we offer. I actually have created a free PDF. If you guys want it and your listeners want it, they can just email me. But it basically goes through all the steps of how to find your brand avatar before you even reach those people, and we know the basic ones, like, the age, the sex, their interest, but it's becoming so much more important now. So a lot of brands already have their products established, but they never really did this crucial part, again, because maybe it wasn't thought or they weren't thinking about it. But I see a lot of brands going backwards and trying to create that brand avatar. Like, who am I selling this product for? And, I just had hairbrush. It just came to my mind because of my fabulous hair. But, thinking of the hairbrush, who is that product avatar? And you're thinking, well, everybody has, most of the females have long hair, right? everybody's my customer. It doesn't work like that anymore. And we know this, even with businesses. The more niche down you are, the louder you are speaking to your customer. So even though I have a hairbrush, it doesn't mean, the 20-year-old and the 50-year-old is going to use the same hairbrush. So even going down to the details, to the specifications, like, okay, who is my perfect customer? And once you find that out, then it's easier to reach out to those specific people. And in this case, maybe you figure out that your hairbrush is for young professionals, and okay, now you can create that lookalike and not necessarily audience, but lookalike customers that are going to end up purchasing the same kind of products that this young entrepreneur lady is doing, right? So what are her interests? Well, her interests are also travel. Where else can we find her? Oh, we find her, every once a month at this mastermind. So then you're able to kind of go for those specific females. Now, when I receive your ad, your sponsored ad, or whatever it is, I'm like, oh my God, this rings true to me. I go to masterminds. I brush my hair at 5 p.m. I don't know, whatever, so now you're able, and I think sellers are starting to awaken in a sense and be like, hey, I'm not trying to reach everyone, but I'm trying to reach those who will actually stay with me. I think the era of Me Too products is, I think it's going to continue for a while, but I think it's moving away slightly, at least now, towards more what can we focus on? Who is our brand avatar? And then go all in. And again, I love seeing this because what I see on the other side, on the shopper side, since I have, a lot of experience on the shopper side, I see these shoppers actually becoming like a raving fan, right? And not even a raving fan, more like, okay, this is my brand. And when you start actually listening to their voice, then this beautiful, magical, like psychological relationship happens between you and the customer, where it's almost as if they feel like this is also their brand. And it's the most beautiful thing. It's all about connecting in the end, like, how can I connect with the soul of the other person instead of just saying, oh, they're just an order number. They're just an order number. What if they're not just an order number? What if they're actually who is going to continue growing your brand? The ones who are going to tell their sister and their cousin and say, you know what? I really like Rob's product. This brush, it's just, I don't know, it just speaks to me. Exactly. And they'll say, well, wait, isn't that just like the other brand? Well, this one is different. And sometimes they might not even be able to put their finger on it. But the fact that now they're part of your family, I know I went too far with this, but I think that's the true definition of your brand avatar and your customer avatar. It's like speaking from your soul to the other person's soul.
No, I'm glad that you went that in depth with it. And you brought something up really interesting, which is psychology. We're going to take a quick break here from our sponsor. And then I want to hear from you about the psychology of, or I guess leveraging the psychology of customer behavior to optimize your listings. So let's take a quick break here from our sponsor and we'll come right back.
Did you know that Amazon probably owes you money for FBA reimbursements? Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at Getita.com/Sellernomics.
All right, you guys, so head over to Getita.com/Sellernomics for your first 400 in FBA reimbursements free. We are back with Izabela Hamilton with RankBell. And I want to dive in, like I said, to the psychology, using the psychology of customer behavior for optimizing your listings. That's like the chapter 1, section 1 of marketing is customer behavior and psychology. So let's dive into that.
Oh my goodness. Well, it just happens to be one of my favorite subjects. I mean, both of you know me close enough to know that I'm all about mindset and psychology and how you can improve your life and improve all of that. So it goes perfectly with this. And you're right, Lisa, it is, marketing, selling 101. Yeah. But a lot of us entrepreneurs, unfortunately, we don't start off that way. Even for me, starting with RankBell, I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm going to be this entrepreneur. You just start. So we miss some crucial steps, but it doesn't mean we can't retrace our steps back and be like, let's do a psychology of customer behavior into this. So again, it goes back to how much do we care about our customers and how much do they care about us. And there's definitely some secrets that we can use. And I'm sure you guys are familiar with like NLP, neuro linguistic programming. There's different books out there on how to win friends and influence people. I mean, all of these books have all these little things in common. And even though they're not specifically saying, oh, this is for brands on Amazon, there's so many different things that we can learn from such books. So understanding the psychology of customer behavior, I think it's such a powerful tool that really all Amazon sellers can use to optimize their listing and definitely enhance their products. And when we understand how these customers, how they purchase, even the purchasing decisions, like why do they buy this product in the morning? Why do they buy it at night? And of course, you can go as deep as you want to go, but we'll try to keep it a little bit on the surface. But one example of leveraging psychology of customer behavior is to use social proof, which we all know, right? Social proof is the idea that people are more likely to trust a brand or a product that they see others using it. AKA we see reviews, right? We see, the era of influencers that we had. I don't know how popular it still is now, but, we had that and people are like, oh my God, they bought this brush. I want this brush. So I think that's never going to go away. So if that's the one thing you can do right now today, make sure you utilize that, however that is. And what you can do is you can leverage this by including like customer reviews in like ratings on your product listing. And I'm almost like afraid to say this, but I'm sure there's many ways that you can incorporate that. I mean, I would suggest you look into it because I don't want to give like anything that's against TOS, God forbid. But I'm sure there's ways that you can use, for example, if somebody says this brush, usually the brushes that are used break after 5 times of using it. You can use that in your product listing that says, usually our brush does not break after the 5th time. But I mean, I'm this necessarily don't use exact quotes like this, but you can use methods like this where you're anticipating problems that other products have. And by putting them into your listing, like we do this or we don't do this, like usually products like this is what happens with them, doesn't happen with us. So anything that will create that spark in the customer's mind that's like, oh, I recognize that. Yeah, I remember why I don't buy that brush anymore. So we will give it, it's like a sign. Another example will be scarcity and urgency. When customers see that a product is a limited supply, we know how that is. We're more likely to act quickly. I am guilty of that many times in my life. I'm like, oh my God, this shirt is running out. I need it. And then, it never runs out. It's okay. All it says is that it still works. So you can use that. You can use it to your advantage by promoting products that are with limiting stock or, running limited time sales or however you can do it on your Shopify store or on Amazon as much as that allows. Again, this creates that sense of like urgency and motivates customers to act like rapidly. So by using, there's so many other techniques that I can think of. There's framing, is like the way you present the information, is how the customer can perceive your product. So framing a product like a solution, like this. Maybe I should have picked a better example than hairbrush, but when you use this hairbrush, it fixes the problem of not having like a bad hair day or whatever that may be. The power of reciprocity, that's another one that's very good one, and we touched a little bit on that, is people have a natural inclination to reciprocate when someone does something for them. So in our case, if let's say we're doing a focus group of customer trying to find out this data from them, again, that connects them to your brand, and then they're like, oh, I want to tell others about it. So utilize this, this attraction that people have to your product all the time. What's another one? Power of the story. People are naturally drawn to stories and they're highly influenced by them. This might not necessarily, work that well on Amazon because there's only so much you can do, but on your Shopify, on your Instagram page, on your Facebook. And I think people either forget about this or they don't give it as much importance. But for me, I'm so emotional. Like literally I would read the story and I'll be like a fan for the rest of my life. Like I'm going to buy from them because like they have a child and it's a single mom and like she works from her garage and it's like, oh my God, okay, take my money. So like utilize things like this. I mean, don't be dishonest. Don't be dishonest, but we all have stories. We're all humans. We all have something to share. So let's put more soul into our products. My goodness.
Absolutely. I'm not the hairbrush guy, but you brought up a good point that was, and I'm going to mention a trend that just happened, right? Like everybody was walking around with these Stanley tumblers.
Yeah.
And so I'm walking through my condo complex, right? And a buddy of mine's wife has the kids, and I look down and in the cart, there's the Stanley tumbler. And I was like, oh yeah, she got that because she saw a video or somebody with it. And when reality is, it's just another tumbler. It really is. Exactly. They're all the same.
But then you see it and you're like, wait a minute, he has it, she has it. It must be a really good tumbler.
Oh, it's got my name on it. So
yeah,
that's okay.
Obviously that's a very good name, but it makes, I think it activates, and if I butchered this name for those psychology majors, but I think it's called reticular activating system. So what happens is, like, let's say you bought a red car and before you weren't really paying attention to anything on the road, but now all of a sudden you're like, why everybody's driving a red Tesla? Where were all these red Teslas before? So it kind of does the same thing. It's like once you start noticing something, then it's like, okay, you notice it, you hate it. You're like, oh my God, these ads are killing me. I always see it. But the next thing you know, you bought the product. You're like, wait a minute, how did I go from like noticing this annoying ad on Facebook to like having the product in my house? We all do it. None of us are immune. Like, even if you know the actual concept, you can't get away from it. And it is what it is. We're a consumer nation. What can I tell you?
What are you talking about? Gatita would never do that. We wouldn't be everywhere, have our name everywhere, follow you around the internet everywhere, make sure that you see us everywhere. We would never do that. Never do it. Just kidding.
But you know what? If like Gatita is a perfect example. The more people know about it, the more people are going to save. So, not every product deserves to be out there like that. But I think, in the case of Gatita, and again, big shout out, and nobody paid me to say this, but I see what you guys do in the industry. Yeah. I see the help that you give. I see the money that you save. And who doesn't like that? It's literally the best thing you can do. Hey, just use us and you're going to have more money. And we're just doing this for you. Like, hello, everybody wants that business model. So have more Gatita ads, please.
Big shout out to Yoni Mazur on that one.
That's right. That's right. Yoni, we love you. You're the best.
I do have a question, Izabela, kind of backing up slightly. So, sometimes people might want to go to these, like, say, Facebook groups or something that are specialized in what they do. But could there be a negative effect from going to that? Now, let me explain slightly. So let's say you're thinking of a new concept for a new product and you go to these groups and you're getting feedback, but do you think maybe if some of these groups are kind of small, you're getting a niche feedback that maybe isn't relevant to everybody else? Like it just happens to be specific to that group. Because I have heard in the past people talk about, hey, get on these Facebook groups, find out what their pain points are and create a product around those. Now, I'm not saying that couldn't work, but is there any negatives or drawbacks to doing that? Maybe with a small group or not getting enough feedback or information to go with a new product?
I can see your concern. I don't want to say it's going to be negative because any feedback is better than the one that you have. So what are the chances out of 100 people that they're all going to be wrong? So when it comes to, to people, I think, even starting with a small sample, and again, we've been in this industry for so long. I'm sure you know stories too, but we know partners and friends in the space that actually took their product to like a bar and say, hey, what do you think about this product? And I mean, how good is that sample of people, but it's good enough to get you started. So, obviously I welcome everybody to use RankBell, but if you don't have the capability of doing that, don't despair and be like, oh my God, there's nothing to do. I don't have money to use the service. That's it. No, you can start by actually putting yourself out there. And if all you have is, maybe your local, whatever you are in a small town in Massachusetts, if that's all you have, then start with that. And everybody wants to help. And if you're like, you know what, guys, I'm just starting this out. I have a business, I'm trying to create this hairbrush. Who can help me with some feedback? And you'll be surprised how many people actually want to help. And that's enough to like create that, like, okay, I wasn't thinking of that. Because we're not all experts in products. We're all maybe experts in certain things that we did, but let's let other people come in and help us out. And again, they're going to love you for it. So it's like win-win-win. So Facebook groups, it doesn't matter if it's small or big, and obviously use your judgment. Don't do something crazy that's like out of control. But if you see, out of 100 people, 70 are saying one thing, then maybe they're kind of right, which is why, always doing this customer research. It doesn't matter what stage you are in your life. And it doesn't matter, like you said, if you're just starting out a new product, if you're using this to create new products, or if it's a product that's already running. And even if it's a product that's already killing it, never be chill, never be relaxed. Like, oh, I got this in the bag. You might not have it in the bag, because trends are always changing. Like, a lot of people tend to sleep on their laurels. I think that's what they're called. But like, no, just always get feedback from your shoppers. Again, that will show them the respect. Also, hey, this is the product that I'm creating literally for you guys. What do you guys think? That's all people want. They want to feel involved. We want to feel involved. It's nice going to Prosper and be like, hey, Rob, oh my God, I see you everywhere. Oh, Izabela, oh, Lisa. We all like that. We don't all like to admit it, but we do. So it's the same thing when you think of a product. It's exactly the same thing. The more you let other people in, the better the results.
100%. Can you give us an example of like how customer research has helped businesses to enhance their offering and enhance their listings on Amazon? Do you have like an exciting example?
There's many different examples, but the one that comes to mind would be like, let's say somebody that's starting to sell fitness products. That was very popular a few years ago, like huge. And what happened was, once we started getting feedback from the customer, we realized that a lot of customers want fitness products within their home that are compact, that are small, maybe go under the bed. But this is not something the actual the brand owners even thought about. They're like, oh, we want the best and the biggest thing, but it doesn't work for somebody that lives in the studio, right? So having this crucial information right from the start, especially for fitness products that tend to be super, super expensive, instead of spending all this money, getting this feedback first was like, oh, well, is there any way that we can reconstruct this product, that we can make it in such a way that it will be compact? And not only that, but now you can take this crucial information and add it into your listing and say, hey, our product is compact. Our product fits under your bed. And, I know a lot of people know this, you go to your competitors and to their reviews and kind of see what they're doing. I mean, that's like, if you have nothing else to do, if you don't have the abilities to, again, use a service or something, the least you can do is go to your competitors and kind of see what are some of those reviews that can help you with that. But yeah, I think it's crucial for really any product. I mean, getting this feedback, knowing exactly what your shopper wants and actually applying it to your product, that's amazing. Like, it's amazing that we live in a world that we have quick information like this. Hey, you like my product? No. Why? Oh, because this is this. Oh, okay, let me fix it. Now you have the perfect product. Now, not only you can get it to page 1, but now you can keep it there, and it can become that brand that you even you yourself want. Because if you're creating a product that you don't even want, then why would somebody else want it? So if you want somebody to ask you what you like, imagine how they want.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it's so funny that you brought up fitness products, because in the height of the pandemic, there was not a dumbbell to be found anywhere because everybody was like, we can't go to the gym. Well, I'm going to work out at home, and everything was gone. No
And
booty
now,
bands, no
we're
nothing.
all fitness models coming out of COVID. We're all walking around like, hey.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's take another quick break here from our sponsor, and then I want to hear more about RankBell and how you guys help sellers. So we'll be back in just a minute.
Today's episode is brought to you by Getida, the global leader in FBA auditing and reimbursements. Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at getida.com/Sellernomics.
All right, you guys know what to do. Head over to getida.com/Sellernomics. Get that first 400 in reimbursements free. Izabela, tell us about RankBell.
That's right. Getida, let's go. Yoni's going to call me after this, be like, what were you on? RankBell, thank you so much. RankBell is my baby, as you guys know. And, it's been such a pleasure to really serve the community for the past 9 years that I've been in. And I've seen so many things change and so many new people come and go and different trends. And, just want to take a moment and really just say thank you to you guys, because people like you that, always bring me on and they want me to share the little information that I know, the little knowledge that I acquired. I'm always grateful. So thank you for that. RankBell has always, from the beginning, has tried to be a few steps ahead of trends, of rules and regulations. And I'm not saying I'm some kind of sidekick, even though we all are to some degree, but it's, if you're in this space long enough, you're able to kind of predict like where the space is going, like when the aggregators came and, now the SaaS aggregators, it's like we can kind of foresee where things are going. So with RankBell, I've always known I have something special. I've always helped sellers get to page one. But now we do it in such a way that is actually helping them create that perfect brand. Because even with RankBell, we're not all perfect. We did have this disconnect. We used to be able to get people to page one, but, they would stay there for a while, but we didn't know how to keep them there. And it's painful. It's like all this work you do, and then, you see it go away. So when the TOS changed and they said, search, find, buy is no longer allowed, even months before that, I had switched to this model of, again, just shopper data. Call it product analysis, call it customer research, whatever you want to call it. It all comes down to this. What is the shopper want? So now what we do, we help businesses, obviously brands on and off Amazon, with customer research and understanding the customer needs. And we do this by providing insights and data to you, the brand, and which can inform you of different strategies that you weren't thinking about. Just like I previously mentioned, with the fitness product, you wouldn't be able to tell what the customer wants if you don't know what they want. Like, it's very hard, again, to get this data from just a 1-star review or a 5-star review. So when we knew that this is something that the sphere is moving into, we immediately adopted it. So what do? We do the product search and analysis. We help the brand analyze the target market. We identify the customer needs, their preferences, and especially, you both mentioned a few times, their pain points, because this is, again, something that is very hard to uncover, very hard. This helps businesses identify where maybe the gaps in the market are, just like you said, Rob, like for future products, like what am I not seeing? What can we do? And this is, again, all from your customer avatar. So somebody comes to us, we'll do a deep dive with them, depends, an hour or two, however much is needed. We'll go through the product, we'll identify who the customer avatar is. Okay, once we have that, we're able to find those specific shoppers who can give us really good data. We don't just want everybody to come in. We want people, for example, with a hairbrush, we want those specific avatars that use this kind of products. Now come in and test this product that we have and tell us exactly how does it compare to everything else on the market. And we expect them to give us really raw and unfiltered data. And again, this is something not everybody's used to. Not everybody, wants to hear that their product is, not that good. And it's, it's painful, but it's better than to be like, la, 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 I don't know, I don't care, I don't know what's going on. It's like, okay, remove the veil. Let's look at the product. What's working? This is working. This is not working, not working, not working, not working. After you cry for a little bit, then the next day you're like, okay, what are some things that I can put in action? Okay, well, there was cases where the brands actually had to, even destroy a whole inventory because it was either that or try to sell it to the market and then get a bunch of bad reviews. So that's really bad cases, really, really bad cases. But, some are even as simple as, the wording here doesn't make sense. Maybe the listing optimization was done, who knows how long, maybe it's just tuning in that fine little thing. Maybe it's something that they discovered about the product. A lot of people change suppliers, or the suppliers get chill and they're like, oh, we've been working with this brand for so long, they're not going to notice our quality sucks now. Well, guess what? The brand owner might not notice, but who notices? The shoppers. So we discover little things like that, when we do our product analysis. Obviously, the keyword research goes without saying. We identify the most relevant and highly searched terms for our clients' products. This, beside everything else, it can help the brands understand what their customers are searching for and really tailor their product listing to meet those needs. Again, going back to like, what did they say? Okay, let's add this into our listing. And come on, with ChatGPT, you can create listings now like with eyes closed. So we're not even going to go into that. But basically, RankBell, data analysis, reporting. We use all the coolest tools on the market to just make sure that you get the perfect results. And you guys know me, we've been in this business for so long that, I do have a pride about, the quality of the service that I deliver. And we always make sure that, that success rate is pretty close to 100%. Some people in my PR team might not allow me to say 100%, but it's pretty close to 100%. Anyway, that's RankBell.
Yay.
I love
that was
you.
awesome.
It's
That was
so
awesome.
easy talking to you. It's so easy because I can see by your smiles, you're like, I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But Isabel,
Of course.
tell everybody how to get a hold of you, where they need to go to learn more about RankBell, and Lisa will throw it up on the screen here.
So sweet. Rankbell.com. Send me an email, bell@rankbell.com. If you guys do want that PDF, don't expect like some fancy bougie PDF. It's me putting it together. So you get what you get. Okay. But it will help you because it has like all the steps, like do this, A, B, C, D, E. This is how my mind works actually. Like I need to do this. Okay. Where did we start? So this will kind of give you an idea of how to find your product avatar. It's quite long. So don't kill me for that. If you want, it's here for you guys to use. You guys are so awesome. Thank you.
You are awesome. Gosh, we love you so much. Thank you so much for coming on today. This has just been absolutely fabulous. You bring such energy everywhere you go. Absolutely. Even to the internet.
Thank you.
Those that are listening, real quick, rankbell.com, rankbell.com, rankbell.com. And the email was bell, BELL, @rankbell.com. Be sure to go check out rankbell.com. So I'm going to give a bonus little story of how I met Izabela. So stick around for 1 second. And let me tell you guys. So this goes back probably almost 5 years, probably about 4.5 years ago. I was working at Feedback Wiz. I was CMO over there. We went to this show out in Las Vegas. And I remember getting invited to Rich Goldstein's party at the MGM. And I go walking in there. Now, remember, I just sold for like 20 years online. So I wasn't really in the service provider space very long. And probably only been at Feedback Wiz maybe 6 months at that point when I got there. And I walk into the room and here's all these people. They all know each other, right? All the people in the industry are there. And I'm just like, well, heck, I have no clue who it is. And I got the boss is kind of like, hey, go ask that person to be on your podcast. Go at that person. And I'm like, oh crap, I barely started this podcast and I need to ask these people. So I get introduced to Izabela and I was just like, okay, I really need you to be on my podcast because everybody's pointing to you saying, you got to have Izabela on your podcast. She was so sweet. She gave me her card And she was like, of course I'll do your podcast. And I would say we probably did the podcast within probably a few weeks after that, not too long after that. And ever since then, Izabela and I have been friends ever since. And let me tell you, she treats her business exactly the way she treats herself. Always on point, always style, always ready to go, and always willing to help you. So that's another reason you need to go definitely use RankBell and check out Izabela. And if you see her at the shows, feel free to stop her. She's very approachable, very nice. She'll always share. She always has a smile on her face. Let me tell you, always has a smile on her face.
She's always the most fashionable woman on the show floor.
100%.
Every
100%.
single party, every exhibit day, every single time.
Oh my God,
Absolutely.
you guys, can we do this every week? I need like let's go. Oh my God, Rob, thank you so much for sharing that story.
No problem.
Wow, I told you I get emotional, so I mean, don't make me cry. But I feel the same way about you guys. That it doesn't matter what business we're in, and it's again, it's about this human connection that we have, and doesn't matter what direction we all go to. Like having like close friends, I consider you guys like really like family. Like I see you more than my family, like most of my family. I mean, I see my parents because they live next door. But other than that, it's like this is who we are. Like literally, this is who we chose to be with for who knows how many years out of our life. Like that's insane if you think about it. Like we picked a few people and we see each other and this is your family. So this is my chosen family. And I want to again thank you. I love you guys. I love Yoni. I love everyone at Gatita. Yeah, that's it. Go.
We all have, it's really simple. We all have the same goal. We're all here to help Amazon sellers or people that want to become Amazon sellers. And one of those ways is checking out RankBell, rankbell.com. Be sure to head on over there and check out Izabela or email her if you have a question, or if it's after the show's over and you're watching a video of this or listening to it, leave a comment in the section. I'll get a hold of Izabela and make sure that we get that answered, and she'll answer it for you if you email her directly. Izabela, always a pleasure having you on the show. And thank you for being on Sellernomics. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, it's the first time you've been on my new podcast, Sellernomics, which is awesome. I should have had you on earlier, but we just took a while to get around to it. But thank you so much for joining us, and we really appreciate it. And everybody go check out rankbell.com, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Sellernomics podcast. Special thanks to our sponsor, Gatita. Did you know that Amazon probably owes you money for FBA reimbursements? Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at gatita.com/Sellernomics. Be sure to join us again next week for more great tips on how to grow your business. And thanks again for listening.